everybody. I'd like to welcome you to our first meeting in June. First of all, I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Superior Treaty Territory and that the land on which we gather is a traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Can I have approval of the agenda for the open session? We do have an add-on, a 2023 AMO conference, and we'll put that under number 3, unfinished business. Any other additions, approval? Hearing none, has anybody got any disclosures of interest? Hearing no disclosures of interest, we do have one delegation tonight, Brian. I'll give you 10 minutes there to...
Don't need that long.
Don't need that long?
Come on.
That'll be the first time.
Come on.
Okay, thanks Mayor, Council, Administration. My name is Brian Hiller, Iron. I come here today to speak on the taxation process and to challenge the actions taken by administration and approved by council of how the water and sewer operating costs are supported by reserve dollars and other funds. I'll start off with brief history. Back in 2000, when I was elected to council, we were approached regarding the water and sewer rates and charges and the way they're regulated. Our municipality had taxpayers that weren't water and sewer users and didn't have the choice or opportunity to use the services. We as council changed Schreiber's process and how we separated users and non-users for taxation purposes. To the best of my knowledge, that process continued until recently as I spoke to a few past mayors. Due to a great changeover in administration, council, and lack of documentation to clarify the process, council and admin have changed that process. In the Act, it states, a regulated entity that provides water and sewer services to the public shall prepare and approve a plan describing how the entity intends to pay the full cost of providing those services. The regulation may specify those sources of revenue that a regulated entity is or is not permitted to include in the plan, and may impose conditions or restrictions with respect to different sources of revenue, i.e. the gas tax. In stating that information, I feel that it is not morally correct to offset the water and sewer service costs by all taxpayers' dollars, as it is a user fee process. Hypothetically speaking, could you imagine the uproar in the community if a grader was purchased out of the water and sewer budget? Everyone's water and sewer bill was increased to $1,000 a year until the grader was paid off? Not a good outcome. So in my conclusion, I ask that council review their policies and procedures as well as the water and sewer budgeting process and take the corrective actions to use the funds from the user fee entity to pay for the operating and capital expenses of that entity. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
No, thanks.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Anne-Marie.
When you're quoting the Act, which part of the Act are you looking at? You didn't happen to write that down, did you?
No.
Okay, I'll
This
look it up.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was a process, you guys developed this back in 2000?
2000. We were approached by non-users, i.e. Reg Yates and them. Why did their reserve dollars have to pay for water and sewer? They don't got that process down there. Walker's Lake doesn't have it, doesn't have the opportunity.
Okay.
Four members of council that are on that have this effects to them directly.
Okay.
So it should be an OREG 453, financial plans under the Safe Water Drinking Act.
You have it though, Nathan, for us? You got that information for us?
Yeah, I
Okay,
could
perfect.
email that to you.
Do we have a plan right now?
Yeah, financial plans, we're obligated by law.
because last year it came out of reserve dollars to pay for the dam repairs. It's everybody's tax dollars in reserves.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll look into it. Okay, next up is question period.
No questions.
No questions? Minutes of previous meeting. Resolution 205-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, second by Councillor Bourgeois, that the minutes of the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting held May 23rd, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Committee of the Whole recommendations. Resolution 206-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, second by Councillor McGrath, that council transfer from the Nuclear Waste Management Organization Community Wellbeing Reserve Fund $1,473.47 to cover the cost of the LNG project as budgeted in bylaw 34-2022. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 207-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, second by Councillor Bourgeois, that council transfer to the water and sewer reserve $59,986.25, which represents 2022 surplus sewer revenue. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 208-23. Moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that council transfer to the water and sewer reserve $44,955.12, which represents 2022 surplus water revenue. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 209-23. Moved by Councillor Bourgeois, second by Councillor Bryson, that council transfer from the Recreation Committee Reserve Fund $677, which covers the unfunded portion of the Reconnect Ontario grant for the 2022 Heritage Days events. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 210-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that council approve the municipal complex boiler replacement project as a project under the federal gas tax funding agreement, and that $42,105.49 be transferred from the federal gas tax reserve at December 31st, 2022 to cover the 2022 township portion of the project costs. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 211-23. Time's up.
Jeez.
Sorry. Resolution 211-23, moved by Councillor Burgeot, second by Councillor Bryson, that council accept the change order from Maine Rehabilitation Incorporated in the amount of $10,000 plus applicable taxes to provide temporary water connections for the east end of Ontario Street. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 212-23. Moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Bryson. That council accept quotation from Levesque and Son Contracting Limited in the amount of $5,787.20 plus applicable taxes for line painting in the Township of Schreiber. Discussion?
Nathan, remind me, honey, it just occurred to me, when are they coming?
Tammy, do you have the date confirmed?
We're hoping the end of June.
End of June?
Yeah, he's just waiting for his white paint to arrive.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 213-23, moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor Bryson. The Council of the Township of Schreiber has identified that repairs to the Schreiber Arena roof is a priority project and approves the application to the Ontario Trillium Foundation for funding. Discussion?
And as a reminder, Nathan, that funding is coming in at 100%?
Yes. It should
Okay.
be.
All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 214-23, moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the Council of the Township of Schreiber support Resolution 328 of the Municipality of Tweed with respect to Bell Hydro infrastructure. Discussion? All those in favor?
I had reached out to Hydro One, awaiting a response,
Perfect.
provided to you if I do get a response.
Well, we're gonna keep after them. That's good, Nathan. That's good. We're gonna keep after them.
Resolution 214, 215, 215, -23, moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that the Council of the Township of Schreiber support Resolution 2023-294 for the County of Prince Edward with respect to declaring intimate partner violence an epidemic. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. So we'll move on to accounts for payment. Resolution 216-23. Moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that bank debits paid out in the general bank account in the month of April 2023 in the amount of $32,430.20 be approved and ratified. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 217-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that checks issued on the general bank account in the month of May 2023 in the amount of $218,413.92 for general accounts payable be approved and ratified. Discussion?
I had a couple of questions that Maureen took care of and answered. I don't know if you guys saw that answer. The one check I had a question about was on May the 16th, the check to Spadoni Motors. But if that was all the handy transit rental cost us, we did pretty good. So that was in the amount of $4,201.07. It's not bad.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was, everything else looks pretty clean.
All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 218-23, moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that bank debits issued on the general bank account in the month of May 2023 in the amount of $54,057.58 for payroll be approved and ratified. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Unfinished business. Resolution 219-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that council authorize the seasonal closure of Scotia Street at the Schreiber Splash Pad for the period of June 1st, 2023 to October 31st, 2023. Discussion?
How's it working out, Nathan, with those signs on the poles and those orange barriers? Is that working? Have you had any issues?
I've heard a few issues of vehicles that were going through since I think the stone was put there. I think I haven't heard of anything else. Have you heard any other reports, Tammy?
Every time a new path is established, he puts another rock there.
Okay.
So that's why that boulder's on the corner? Okay.
Yeah.
And particularly where that boulder is was a pretty good idea because we do have a valve there that we were quite concerned would potentially get damaged if a heavy vehicle went over.
Yeah, we were seeing dually marks, so something heavy has been cutting their corners, probably a transport of some sort.
Any complaints from any business, commercial or otherwise?
That
I
we
have
closed
not
it? No?
heard
Oh,
anything.
about being closed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, but there's been some issues down there, and I personally can hardly wait for a security camera to go down there.
I'll
I
tell
mean,
you-
it's gotta stop.
Like-
I would put a trail cam down there in the meantime.
Like issues with
With the vehicles
small
going through with
vehicles?
no respect to a road
Yeah.
closed.
Yeah,
I've gone downtown a couple of days, and especially the warm days, there had to be, I'm not even exaggerating, 50 kids out there.
oh no,
Like, you'd want to be darn careful. Like, I didn't even want to pull into that parking lot. I thought, no, I'm just going to park over here, way out of the way. Because there was a lot of kids out there that day.
one day I seen two ATVs parked on the sidewalk. They just, I don't know,
yeah.
lack of respect, I don't know.
That's what.
But anyway, there's a need, I hope later on you guys realize as much as I do, there's a need for a security camera down there.
No, I think it's a good idea.
We have to protect our
What do you
infrastructure.
think?
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
that'll be a come up later in budget or
Yeah,
whatever.
today must have been busy down there with the warmer weather.
I would imagine.
Apparently, it wasn't that,
No.
anytime I went by anyway, but I mean, no, it's well used though.
Yeah, every time I drive.
Nothing
by
but
there.
positive comments about it, and a job well done by everybody that was involved in that.
Okay.
So, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 220-23. Moved by Councilor McGrath, second by Councilor Bryson, that council authorize a donation to the North Shore Harvest Cupboard in the amount of $50 in the memory of Morris Zapperzan. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. So now we'll move on to the committee of the whole portion of the meeting. Department reports and committee board minutes. Number 1, Treasury Report, 2023 postage machine lease.
And a recommendation here from the treasurer that council authorize the agreement with Pitney Bowes for the lease of a Send Pro CS Series postage machine, C-Series postage machine for the term of October 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2028 in the amount of $1,545 per year plus applicable taxes.
I see that's cheaper than the one right now, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, for
That's a
sure.
lot of mail you send out, 6,000 pieces of mail.
Yeah. But Marlene's done her homework. She's quite right. Pitney Bowes is about,
Yeah.
it's the best price, so why not stick
Yeah.
with something you know? Yeah.
Definitely.
More efficient. Send
No
out.
complaints with this machine or service.
We're all good with that?
Yeah.
Bring it
We're all
forward,
good.
sure. Number 2, Director of Operations report, status update.
Tam, if you don't mind just sharing with council some highlights in your report.
That water restriction would be a good place to start to remind people, Tam.
The water restriction is in place. We will be doing our unidirectional flushing over the next 2 weeks. So it's important to try and maintain our elevated tank at 85%.
What was it today?
We were at 89 today.
89, okay, so we're gaining ground.
Last week we were at 90, 93.
93?
Yeah.
So what would have dropped it to 89? So it is just the summer demand?
Yeah,
It keeps-
you mean today it dropped it to 89?
Yeah.
The, when we were really in danger, last week, we were making water as quickly
More
as we
water, yeah.
possibly could. We've turned that down again. So today they were making water at 16 liters per second. And that's trying to judge the turbidity at the filters to make sure that we don't go on a boil water. But I mean, we're holding our own. It's quite normal for levels to drop during the day and pick up at night.
Just increase, build back up overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you notice a positive difference once the water restriction came in?
Yeah, we regained ground quite quickly, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We have some significant breakdowns at Public Works. That trackless has been down. We fell behind on our sweeping. There was no hydraulics on the machine. Through discussions with the supplier, we were able to start at the cheaper end and work our way back, and $2,500 for the part actually was the cheaper end. So we are back to our sweeping again. The grader should be heading up to Thunder Bay sometime this week. He called this morning saying that he had a float going by our door. And the plow truck at the moment is down. It just will not stay running, and it's not throwing any codes, so they're all kind of scratching their head on that one. Mill Road has been involved in that. And the CLI ECA, we have our 2 permits. This is a new initiative by the ministry. So we have a new CLI ECA for the Schreiber Stormwater Management Collection System. And then we have a CLI ECA for the Municipal Sewage Collection System. With that comes some big significant deliverables that I'm currently working on. We have to develop a operation and maintenance manual to meet all of their criteria. So I'll be working on that over the next little while. I have met with Aqua. We're the authority over the collection system, so it's not really under their umbrella, but they have been gracious enough to kind of guide us along and help us with the compliance end of things. So I'll be working on that over the next few months because the deadline is October of 2023.
3.
Right. The stormwater system,
Yeah.
it's not owned,
Correct.
not much of it's owned by the municipality. It's
Only a
railway,
91 meter stretch, right?
railway and MTO. So what are their responsibilities in that regard?
So a lot of the stuff in that section was like NA, it didn't apply to us.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
very complicated because although the infrastructure owned by the MTO and by CP are very old infrastructures, we've tacked onto them and expanded that through a small selection of streets. So by that definition, it falls under our umbrella as far as responsibility goes. Our systems are quite simple. We have no overflows, we don't have any tanks, we have no pumping stations. So in that regard, it'll be fairly easy, but we also have to develop a lot of standard operating procedures that will illustrate our maintenance to maintain those 2 systems.
But if there are expenses to maintain those systems because they're owned by those other 2 organizations, then what responsibility would they have to pay for those
I'm not sure, actually. It would definitely be a conversation with both those parties. I expect that they would pay for the infrastructure that's on their property, and then once it hits town property and we start tying into
Yeah.
it. So I think it's a joint effort there. It depends on where the problem occurs.
I know that came up earlier this year about, and I don't think it was one particular railway or the other, but there were some issues with
That was there in correspondence. I think it was railway tracks and drainage.
yeah, and they didn't feel they had any responsibility
Yeah.
in paying for any infrastructure repairs or maintenance, so it'd be good to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's something to get these certificates in and of itself. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But for that's kind of my thinking too. The stormwater management just seemed like that whole Appendix A, it's just a ton of paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay. But the other certificate, municipal sewage collection, there's not a whole lot of NAs in here, Tim.
I know.
Seems like a lot of this is on us.
I mean,
So-
it was definitely a happy story that we got the CLI ECAs on the first attempt of the application, but now the work starts.
And these things are good for 7 years?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So this is where it's like the paperwork end of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And then to wrap up my status report, you'll see the priorities that came out of Jason Nesbitt's presentation about White Sand Beach, and my responses to how we as a township can address many of them.
Yeah, that was good. That was helpful. Thank you.
So, the whole idea about grass being erosion control, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, that was the question, how do you just go in there and disturb the shoreline on a lake? You can't. In
Yeah.
this day and age, you can't do that anymore.
No.
At one time, I guess, it was done, but now it can't be done without incurring penalties, so.
And our land use permit has some restrictions on it as well that we have to consider.
Yeah. Okay. So smoothing out gravel and smoothing out the road and stuff, that's stuff that can be done for right now. That's the easy thing. The rest of it we'll have to look into.
Yeah, Corey's already been down there with the loader and he's backbladed the parking area, so
Okay.
he's already made that better. We've had a good examination of the washroom, and we think that we can fix that with town forces as well. It's just gonna take a jack to jack up the corner, put some blocks under it, and then we'll put some backfill, so that it's not such a huge step out of the building to make it more accessible.
So you don't need new ones?
We do not.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
that's helpful. Now, the stone wall, that was the other one.
There's already a retaining wall there, but that separates the
Yeah.
parking area and the beach. And again, anything beyond that on the beach cannot be touched without the proper permits. So, I mean, you can clean up the grass on the parking lot side of the
Yeah.
retaining wall, but that's about it there. Our land use permit won't allow for fire pits, and there's no
Okay.
policing down there for that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They'll just end up cutting wood out of there won't be any trees left
Yeah.
down there.
Especially when there's a restricted fire zone, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
The-
playground structure, I'm not even a little bit surprised at. There's
Yeah,
so
no
many rules.
No structures allowed.
Yeah.
I propose that we further remove that hydro pole that's stuck in on the beach. It's kind of got a mean lean to it, and the sign is so high, it's not even
Yeah.
at reading level. So if we remove that, we can install 2, 4x4 posts and mount a new sign that's more relevant to the township.
Okay, thanks for
Thanks,
giving us
Tim.
the
Thanks, Tim.
time. Okay, an update on Ontario Street water main.
The recommendation here that the Council of the Township of Schreiber accept the change orders 2 to 6 in the amount of $24,425 plus applicable taxes for changes to the Ontario Street water main upgrade contract with main rehabilitation. Ultimately, while the $24,000 is what you say over what we were budgeting with this contract, it is within our overall project budget, as our funding will cover a portion of this contract value. So really, what we'd have to pay into it would be approximately $4,000.
Right, because one of these change orders was actually for credit, right, Nathan?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So then the only note I had is that, this is more information provided by Marlene, that the original funding portion from us was gonna be 137, it's now gonna actually be 133. But the mayor and council needs to decide whether we're borrowing this or transferring this, or are we gonna be moving it from reserve. So again, when we get to that, that'll be a decision to make for that, for our portion of this.
Yeah.
That hadn't been decided. I wasn't sure if it had or hadn't, but yeah.
That was a nice surprise, getting that credit.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, and that job is complete now, right?
They'll be here
Yeah.
next week to do the pavement, and then it will be complete.
Are you doing show and tell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, there's your pipes. The one pipe on the,
Can we see it in the
on
camera?
my right is,
On your right? I'll do it.
is what the pipe looked like when we cut. That's actually a section of our pipe. And then the other one is the lined pipe.
With
Oh,
the calcification or whatever you call it.
Yeah, that all gets scraped out,
Yeah,
and then they reline it.
so what do they how do they scrape that out,
It was a really cool process
Yeah.
to watch, actually, and it was just, they're metal blades sort of thing, and they're pressurized, and then the water pushes it through, and they've got winch cables at each end, and they just pull it through, and the water coming out at the other end was just gold, that color.
Yeah.
And then once it's all done, they have another attachment that goes on the winch cable, and it starts spinning, and that's what feeds the cement through as it goes through the line, and it coats the inside of the pipe.
So pretty high tech.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, I just caught the
Procedure
end
to
of
see.
it there on, I didn't really understand what was going on, but.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They are very efficient. They did that whole part in 6 days.
Yeah. So good for another 50 years or so.
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
Very glad we were able to get this project
Yeah,
covered
no,
under the
excellent.
ICIP
Yes.
funding, because again, the cost is again substantially huge
Yeah.
just for one street,
One
so you
street.
can imagine the rest of our
Yeah.
infrastructure.
Well, it came in, right, Nathan, let me just see here. $488,000 to do
Yep.
one pipe on one street. Wow. So you're right, the funding was excellent.
Where do you think the funding came from to put this water line in and sewer line in back in the
Back in the day?
70s and 80s? You were around for that, but where did the funding where did the funding come from? That must have been huge.
Back in them days, I didn't care where the funding came from, water, as long as there was beer.
As long
I
as
had
you're
a
getting,
truck.
as long as you're getting paid on payday.
No, I can't, I'm sure,
I mean, that must have been
obviously there was funding.
significant to fund that.
Yeah, because they were doing more than one street at the time.
Yeah, like one
Well,
summer.
they did the town in 2 sections, I believe, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Two
Yeah, the whole-
contract, 2
yeah.
phases.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what that cost. There had to be funding. right? There just had to be.
But ever since Walkerton, anything to do with water is just price wise or
Yeah.
and safety too. But I mean, price wise, it's
Yeah.
But even with our delegations that we have at the province, I keep on telling them that this ICIP funding, OCIF, all of this funding really is a lifeline for us in a small northern community to make sure that we get these major infrastructure projects
Right.
addressed.
no, it's other than paving, it's glad to get that job done and
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's the big one off our plate for sure.
yeah, and hopefully that it will cover their concerns. Okay, Director of Operations, Cemetery
Cemetery
bylaw update.
So 2 recommendations here. First, that the council of the Township of Schreiber change the cemetery bylaw to eliminate winter burials, to use the brick shed as the vault, and to build a garden shed. And that the council of the Township of Schreiber update the Schedule A for the cemetery price list.
Is that normal in other communities to have a vault in their cemetery?
That's correct from the research that we've done. Tam, if you don't mind,
White
Is- is-
River,
is that-
White River, Manitouwadge, Marathon do not do winter burials.
But is that common practice for a municipality to store?
Yes, in this area,
In this area?
yeah.
Okay, I always thought that would be a service of a funeral home.
No, even up in Shapiro, they don't do winter burials, and they have a vault building right in the middle
Okay.
of the cemetery to store.
Yeah, so is there any liability concerns with having a vault? I mean, I guess if it's secured property?
Well, I think if using that brick shed is, I think the liability would be minimal.
Well, that's it, if it's a secure building, then
If it's a
that's-
secure building, right? And when I had asked questions, she's done, admin has done all the research to say, yep, caskets will fit in there.
Yeah.
It's a place that they can lock down, it's solid. It's not like something that's gonna blow over.
and you know, this is a highly sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's
Exactly.
this is a decision that is, even from the administrative level, is a very difficult decision to put before council. So we understand that you know, and for those watching at home, really what it boiled down to was we have to look at the risk of continuing to do winter burials and just the potential for damage is just significant. You're talking about a lot of snow that's present on top of, you can't properly see the markers. Again, when the ground is frozen solid and you're excavating, there's a high risk that you're gonna take out a larger chunk than intended. So we had to balance all of that, and also again with a very small crew that we have 3 people in public works. If there's a major snowstorm, how are we gonna be able to work under these conditions to make sure we do a job? And if we're gonna guarantee a job, we need to do it 100% perfectly in respect to
Yeah.
the family and their deceased loved one.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm okay with quitting winter burials, as long as we're using that brick building.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good.
And the other portion of that was, Tammy presented, whether we needed another separate building for the tools. And my thought would be we do.
Yeah, I think absolutely.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of calling that building a shed in the summer and a vault in the winter.
Yeah, no.
No, if it's gonna be a vault, it's gonna be a vault.
Yeah.
I think we gotta go with I think it's budgeted for 4,000. I think we gotta go with that, when the time comes, for sure, with the tool shed. But my question would be, just visualizing it is probably good for 3 caskets. Would there be talk of putting
We've
an upper
measured-
rack, I guess I'm gonna
We've
call it.
measured out the possibility of 4 caskets going in there.
Okay,
And if we had a smaller casket, we could put 2 more across the back.
no, okay, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna get into that, yeah, for
We've,
sure.
we've never had that many burials in one winter, but you're right, to plan for the future, you don't know, we might
Right,
have.
I mean, should have a,
So, another question I had is like, who can be buried in our cemetery? Is there a certain criteria? Do you have to be a resident or a past resident?
Deceased.
No, what's that? Deceased.
deceased helps.
Deceased, deceased, yeah, that's important.
It's open, like, in terms of our pricing, we have, pricing for residents and then pricing for non-residents.
So, yeah. I mean, some communities may have a restriction on who can be buried.
Well, I think,
Yeah, especially when the room is limited.
I believe there is.
Yeah, if the room is limited, like, it would be, you would think that it would make sense to.
But I know there's, I mean, it's not the place or the time.
But there's nothing in our,
No, because
Our
we do
policy.
have, we have pricing, right, for
Yeah.
residents and
Okay.
non-residents, and
I'm just, yeah,
So
it's a
it's
bit
open.
more for non-residents, so with
Yeah.
regard to that, right, it's more an incentive for residents
Right.
to.
Right. It's less expensive to have a resident, yeah.
Exactly.
So then I guess the next thought of, staying on A would be, when are we gonna start using that building as a vault? You're thinking like this October?
I believe so.
Yep.
You're gonna start using it in October.
Yep.
So
So-
then you need,
I think we got to,
can a tool shed be built? Like, can those tools go someplace else and then we build a shed come spring? And then put the tools in there?
Yeah,
Or like, is this shed, I guess is my question, is this shed something that needs to be done right away, or can it wait till the spring?
well, you have, like, if it's just hand tools, that's easily stored elsewhere, but there is that lawn tractor that we would have to try and find a spot to keep that out of the weather.
Right. Would there be room at the town garage, Tim?
No.
Okay. So then the third question becomes, where is this new tool building going to be located?
It's going to be located behind the brick shed, between the tree and the shed. There's enough room to put a shed package in there.
And the doors would open on the cemetery side?
It would, yeah, they would open up at the end, so facing the columbarium.
Okay.
So we're not going to be, we have enough room to exit the shed without interfering with any plots.
That's my question,
Yeah.
okay. So you can still get for instance, that riding lawnmower
Yes.
or equipment out of there without impacting any of the local graves that are
Yes,
around that
I've
area?
considered all of that.
Makes sense?
but I think we have to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we gotta get it out there to the public. Like, I don't think we can wait, for the first person, you know.
No.
And say, oh yeah, by the way, I think Schreiber has to be educated on it.
As per your, the report that you have in front of you, there's a process to change the bylaw.
Right.
So there will be some public announcements, and then we can always just carry on from there.
Yeah,
That all has to be done
yeah,
carefully.
newspaper
Yeah.
and stuff, yeah, for sure, but I agree, carry on, and we have to make sure, do our responsibilities, due diligence, and just
Mhm.
make sure that Schreiber's aware, because we don't need, you know, I mean, are we gonna get it? Maybe, but at least if we do our thing, then
We notify, yeah. So these, filing these bylaws and then going to the Bereavement Authority of Ontario could all be done between now and October?
Generally, the last time they did it, it took 2 months.
Okay. And then item B.
So,
Nathan?
Item B is an adjustment again to your pricing. So that was again, the recommendation was that the Council Township of Schreiber update the Schedule A for the cemetery price list. It looks like from some research we did, the last time the pricing was updated was in 2015. I believe when looking at a lot of this pricing, Tammy, you had also compared to neighboring municipalities. And I believe we were quite low originally on the list.
So are we, okay, so you wanna talk about, what do you wanna talk about first? You wanna talk about internments or full burial plots?
Whichever. No.
Well, for internments, the Township of Schreiber currently charges $700 for a resident and $950 for after hours. While comparing this fee to surrounding townships, keep in mind that Schreiber is unique.
what page you on
I'm on page 2 of 3. Of that, what we're talking about here.
So in your attachment,
Yes.
if you're following along electronically, it
Yeah.
will be
Sorry.
22 of 24.
Sorry.
Okay.
So that's where we're talking about raising the internment from 700 to 950, and for full burials, and cremains from 125 to 150. And Tammy did provide us with a cemetery price comparison. So if we talk about full remains, Manitowoc's charges 400, Marathon 1200, Terrace Bay 900. We're currently at 7, though we'd like to raise it. Nippigan 440, Thunder Bay I don't think is worth mentioning. Dryden might be at 798. So we're thinking of coming from 700 to 950. Why are you going? I mean, so it just in price comparison.
Where is that? I've
That-
seen it earlier today.
That was in an email
In an email.
that
For that.
when I had asked Tammy for more information.
That's from Tammy? I've seen that earlier today, but I couldn't remember.
Tammy or Nathan, one
It
of
would
you
be
sent
for
it to me, sorry.
For me.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking for it.
So if we went from 700 to 950, we'd be lower than some communities, higher than others.
Right, I personally, I don't think that's a big increase.
Okay? And then internment of remains, cremation remains, she wants to raise it from 120, the man wants to raise it from 125 to 150, which quite truthfully is pretty much on par with what other communities are doing.
Mhm.
So I don't know what you guys think about that.
So what did you say again, Anne Marie? I'm just
So-
looking at the chart here.
So
You're looking at
internment for full burials, we currently charge 700,
Yeah,
and that's in comparison to what other communities are charging, right? So
Mhm.
Manitowoc 4, Marathon over 1200, Terrace Bay 900, Nippigan 440, Dryden 798. We're thinking of raising it from 700 to 950. And then cremated remains, we're currently at 125. They are looking for a slight increase to 150, which is pretty much what other communities are charging. In fact, would be lower than 2 or 3
yeah.
communities.
Well, prices are not out of hand, that's for sure.
How long's it been at 700, do we know?
2015.
Yeah, well, probably justify an increase, everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Went up.
definitely.
Yeah, I
So,
don't have an issue with
The
it.
internments, yeah?
Maybe we'll be negotiating a new collective agreement next year, so labor costs are forecasted to increase, so.
Right. But then we get into full burials and cremated burials. And the increase that's suggested here is like 100%.
Some of the logic here, you know, when you compare to the columbarium, just for the niche, right? That's $1,200 just for the niche, right?
Mhm.
And the burial plot itself has been cheaper. Now, the logic behind that has been because it costs money to actually buy that columbarium, and you're recovering the cost there. A factor that sometimes is missed out when you're looking at land is sometimes you don't put a tangible asset value on land. However, there's just ongoing operating costs that are required to maintain those plots, right? You're talking about a lot of maintenance that's going on from, again, especially the grass cutting. And this is
100%.
And this is, again, one time someone will pay the fee, right? But in perpetuity, we have to take care of the grass cutting. So that's some of the logic.
But we
behind
do,
there.
but in perpetuity, we charge a care and maintenance as well. And our care and maintenance, with your intended increases, would put us at we'd be the most expensive community along the North Shore for care and maintenance. Just. I don't disagree that for the burials, whether it's a full burial or cremated burial, that we need to do an increase. I just question 100%, Nathan, that's all.
Mhm.
I'm just, going from 400 to 800 just seems a little steep. And I realize that the last time we looked at this was 2015. I appreciate you sharing that with us. But I don't know what you guys think.
Definitely. Definitely gotta be an increase, that's for sure. 650.
Just because I print everything out. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, well. Like you say, we're the most expensive on the North Shore for care and maintenance, but we're not the most expensive on the North Shore for everything else, right?
Not for burials, no.
Yeah, so is it all gonna balance out?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's the burials? I haven't got that in front of me.
You don't have that?
No.
Okay, so burials, burials, if you want to talk about full burials. Number 2, for a full burial, we charge right now $400, $290. Manitowoc charges $200, $290. Terrace Bay charges $258, $258. Marathon charges $264 and $290 for the lot.
For the lot.
Just for the lot,
For
okay?
the interment, there's.
Now the internment is a different thing. So in the internment, hang on, I'll tell you. Maybe Tammy has this faster than I do. In the internment.
The care and maintenance is not up for debate, that's all regulated.
Okay, so if that's the only thing that we're,
The 290 to the 320?
Yeah, that's all regulated.
Like, yeah, you can reduce the care and maintenance cost. It's based on a percentage Isn't that how it works, Cecile? It's a percentage of the.
It's it's 40% of your lot price or $290, whichever is more.
So,
So at
The reason that-
$400, the 40% is less than $290, so it was $290. At $800, the 40% is $320, which is higher than the $290, so you go to $320.
so you go to the 320.
Okay.
That's legislation.
So the care and maintenance then is based on the actual price of the lot, it's not a
It's
standalone?
included in the price of the lot.
Okay. So. So if you,
And that's a one-time cost.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it won't be, yeah.
So so the price of the lot was 400. 290 of it was for care and maintenance?
Yes, so you were getting $110 of the lot price.
mhm,
The rest was going to care and maintenance.
yeah,
Well, I don't think 480 is that bad for a lot, if 320 is going for maintenance.
no, I don't disagree with you, what I'm looking at here is the thinking of raising the price of the lots for full burials, cremated remains, and in an unpaid family lot. I don't know what that means, Cecile.
An unpaid family lot is one that was in existence prior to January the 1st, 1955.
Okay. We're looking at raising, like, if the care and maintenance follows the price of the lot, then that makes sense that that's gonna go up. But we're looking at raising those prices from what we're currently charging, $400 for each item, where the recommendation is to raise them to $800. You're looking at a 100% increase on every one of those. To me, that just seems a little steep. So I don't dislike your idea of 650.
Or the care and maintenance at that point would stay at 290 probably.
Yes, because I believe it was $700. $700 was the break point between the 40% or the 290. Anything below 700, your care and maintenance would be 290.
Which is what other communities are charging, right? Manitowage is charging $290, Terrace Bay is charging $258, Marathon's charging $290 for care and maintenance. And that's because their lot rates are not $800.
So if everyone's in agreement with that, what we can do is look at what the percentage increase would be for the 650 and then adjust the pricing accordingly.
It's up to you. What do you think?
And there's also the non-resident side of it too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that.
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah,
That's on the resident side.
but it needs to.
Yep. Well, all I'm saying is whatever that, whatever the calculation of the percentage increases on the 400 to the 650, we can calculate that and do
Why?
that with the rest of the pricing.
Apply it to the rest of the pricing. All right.
But separately from the interment, because the interment costs, I think everyone was in agreement with that, that was fine.
Yeah, the interment, I have no problem with. Even the lot, I have no problem with. But it was the burial costs going up 100%, just
Yep.
under Schedule A of this
Yep.
price list. I just thought that was steep.
Oh, and then, you know what, with all the resident rates right now at all at 400, so that would be 650, and we'd probably look at then just doubling it to, or whatever that ratio is from the 840 to the 650, we'll just have to calculate that. We can do
For the
that now.
non-resident,
Yep.
yeah.
So that's really the non-resident really is the only one that would be affected with that.
And then the care and maintenance follows that 40%. So you're looking at an increase in all three categories from 400 to 650.
Yep.
Okay.
So as we make those changes, and I think just because we would want to have enough time to move through the process, so we'll have to look at what our next steps would be. What would it be in terms of process? We have to
The
give a
next step
notice.
next step would be bringing the bylaw forward and having it approved by council.
Oh, that's done before, and then we do the notice after.
Then you do the
Okay.
notice and the sign and then
Okay.
everything into the Bereavement Authority of Ontario.
All right.
Cause yeah, she wants to have this done by October, and it makes sense that that's what you would do if you're gonna start right away. And I think when I read the rest of the bylaw, I think it was that your changes made sense. I think that was it. It was just the pricing I had questions about.
Okay.
Then you just do you said a percentage for the non-residents? like
Yeah,
all
whatever
that.
that calculation is, yep.
Okay. Number 5, Director of Operations report, Cook Lake Spillway repair and library steps.
Recommendation here that the Council of the Township of Schreiber accept the quote from Vector in the amount of $35,250 plus applicable taxes for the repair of the spillway at Cooks Lake Dam and to the library stairs. Tammy, did you want to just explain to council again the urgency of why this is being essentially locked in as per your proposal into
Yep.
our capital budget?
Okay, the spillway, Vector identified as being in worse shape than what the dam was actually in. So, it's urgent that we complete it this year. If we, don't have resolution to give Vector the go-ahead, we will not have a slot. They have a full slate of jobs already for the season, and, we only have the end of June as an opportunity to get this work done.
So Tam, explain to me what a spillway is at the dam. What are we talking about specifically,
Your dam is there holding back the water.
right?
When the water raises higher than what the dam is, there's the spillway that's a little bit lower than the dam, diverts the water into the creek.
And the problem with that spillway right now is,
It's crumbling. All of the rebar is showing, it's severely cracked. There's a lot of spalding. And if that breaks away from the dam, that will be a huge support to the dam not there anymore.
And this company is very specialized.
Yeah, Vector, they have the equipment that they put little plastic nipples in the crack, and then they have a hydraulic pump that pumps. It's a fill that's actually thinner than water, and it pressurizes the crack, pushes all the water out, and seals the crack. So they're very specialized to dams.
And there's no one else in this area that does that kind of work, that's available right now.
No, my predecessor in the past was in contact with a company that has fallen off the face of the earth. We're not quite sure where they're at,
Yeah.
so I had to start looking, and with all the phone calls that I made, these guys were the only ones that did dams
Right.
of that size.
and Tammy, do they warranty their work for a certain amount of years? Like if they fix the spillway, we can count on it to last.
You know what, I'm not sure about their warranty, if that is such thing, because the dam's already existing. But if it's repaired, you probably will get another, 5-10 years out of it before we have to do any maintenance on it again.
On the dam or the
On
dam?
that spillway. Oh, okay.
On both.
Because when was the last time that was?
The dam was done last
Last
year,
year.
What, the
because we
spillway?
thought that was urgent,
Yeah.
but when they got here, the spillway
Okay.
probably hasn't been touched in years.
Yeah, so it'll probably last
Yeah.
a while then.
And then information from Marlene, you've got a price on here of 26,915. But we already have a somewhat soft plan in where we're taking some money from infrastructure, Nathan, and then some money from the water to help pay this. It's gonna leave us with about a $6,300 bill, is that right?
That was the research that Marlene did, yeah.
Okay. And that's just for the dam? Okay. That was one recommendation. And the library steps.
I believe if they're coming down for the, if they're mobilizing to come down and do the dam, they may as well do the steps downtown. We gotta get them done.
And these are the front steps?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a priority job that we have identified.
From the library? Okay. But again, if we're making these critical projects, you're buttonholing down this money in the capital budget. Okay.
Does it make sense to look, because the stairs wouldn't be such a specialized job, is there somebody that could do that part
Locally.
cheaper, locally?
The cement blocks have to be removed because they're all crumbled and broken, so they need to be removed. The step needs to be supported while we remove the blocks, and then put the blocks back in and put the mortar around it. The issue is, I mean, you're paying mobilization and demobilization for Vector already, so it's to your benefit to do that job. Otherwise, you're paying mob and demob to another company coming from Thunder Bay.
Yeah, they're experts, so,
Yeah.
I mean, the job's gonna be completed properly.
And this price though, Tammy, on Benji's point, $8,335, is it comparable if we had to look locally? Or is it
Well, there's no
lower
one
than?
local that can do that kind of removing the blocks and putting them back in, supporting the step. I haven't found a contractor that has been able to give me a price on that. So again, I was reaching out to the Construction Association in Thunder Bay and getting phone numbers from their website and calling a number of companies. That research was done early in the year when we were preparing for budget.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, you're looking for recommendation
Yes, yeah.
tonight, green light tonight, because of the timeline of it.
Yeah.
Given the additional information, as long as everyone's aware, we're buttonholing some more money down into the 23 capital budget. As long as you're okay with that. I don't think the pricing is horrid. She's explained that they're critical repairs. The library steps, you're right, they've been up on the block for a couple of years, wanting to get done, so makes sense. I don't know what you guys think. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's, stuff that's critical needs to be done, so.
Yeah. Spend a day and
Okay, then, you can go ahead with that one. Bring it forward and get a hold of, I think they said they could only, June?
Yeah, end of June.
Okay, building permits and demolition permits report.
October, November, December.
Not a heck of a lot, eh?
No, not a lot. It's been a slower year again, reported builds.
Do you know off the top, Nathan, how this compares to previous years?
Not off the top of my head, but,
Cause it's like the first 5 months, right?
And for myself particularly, I tend to get more involved right when it's something that requires a planning approval.
Right.
That tends to then take up more of my time. But it has been, in general, at least for me, a quieter year.
Yeah.
That being said, again, we have July and August to go through, so.
Okay.
Okay, number 7, beautification committee minutes.
Excuse me for a second.
Pretty straightforward. I pass the torch to Benji.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah, like you say, pretty straightforward. Some good things going on. I missed
Okay.
the start time a little bit on that meeting, so I missed the first part of it.
Gonna be for good on it. Number 8, senior program coordinator report.
Yeah, I'll just touch base on what's been going on, just looking at the minutes and the report.
Are you gonna do 8 and 9 then?
Yeah, some of that stuff we covered already
Okay.
at the last meeting and the previous meeting, so. So the summer barbecues have been laid out. It's been a change from Thursday to Wednesday now, so same menu. The locations has changed to by the splash pad in behind the benches that are behind the Schreiber sign there, park sign. So that's a good location for us. Computer training was put off till the fall. There isn't, trying to get a music jam session going, and the first one went pretty good. There's a few people that showed up and playing guitar and different instruments. Were you there, Nathan?
I was there, I guess, 2 Wednesdays ago.
Okay.
I was live streamed, so.
Yeah, so it went pretty good. And,
The Velvet Tunes
seems
of
people were enjoying themselves singing along. There's no age restriction, so anybody can attend. So foot care, nothing going on with foot care. I mean, that's something that gonna try to get it going, but nothing at this point. Movie matinee, we reached out to the I believe it was the public school, and they do not have a license, which is $1,000 to rent movies and screen them. So that's on the back burner now. Blood pressure clinics are ongoing, and was that today, or there's another one this week, I believe. Tomorrow, and that is
You guys going?
My wife told me I should go.
yeah, so that is tomorrow. The last membership count, 373 members with 62 new members. That's probably up. I didn't touch base with Kathy today to get the update. So coffee time on Tuesdays. Baking is available by some of the local bakers. Good participation in that. Swedish weaving is ongoing. VON, chair yoga up and down with the numbers. Ramoli is very popular with many attending, and upwards of 60 people. So sewing 101 on Monday. The regular teacher, Karen McGinnis, is taking a break, so Some of our local committee members are taking that on. Pool, we have a plan to buy new equipment for the pool room, but that seems the numbers have gone up for that. Floor curling is ongoing, and the spring fling, 100 people attended. So I think that'll be an annual event.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity for people to get out and socialize, and also we do run a membership campaign. So just another update on Heritage Days. So they're going to be involved on Wednesday for lunch, bocce on Thursday with a floor curling tournament and a barbecue, Sunday barbecue during the wrap-up. And July 1st, there's a barbecue, and they're also holding a bingo, which is going to be indoors this year. Last year it was outdoors, which went out really well, but the weather was good. So the marigold campaign went off really well. I planted some the other day, and they're thriving.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. I transplanted them in bigger pots, so I know what I'm doing. So they're going good, especially with this warm weather. And we do have an ongoing wish list for our grants. That was something that was brought forward, that we should have a wish list so that we're ready when the grants come out.
Yeah, well, that'll be helpful to administration for sure.
Yeah, so our next meeting will be this Thursday. So,
Okay, thanks for that. Doing well.
yes.
Our busy group.
Number 10, occupational health and safety meeting minutes is there. They're there. And number 11 is your draft joint health and safety committee operating procedures in terms of reference.
I believe this is also going back to the committee to review again, or is this, yeah. Main change, really the main change was just pertaining again to incorporating the library as membership. Again, part of the, want the library to be there, but again, Township of Schreiber is not their employer, right? So we have to sort that out.
But still important to include their complaint, their concerns. Exactly, yeah.
And number 12, then the bylaw report.
There's been a lot of issues with dogs.
Yeah, yeah, could see that on the report.
And cats.
Yeah. And cats.
And bird feeders.
I go from winter snow-related issues and parking-related issues right into the wildlife and dog issues.
Right.
Construction material left unattended on Alberta Street. I see a trailer there tonight. Blocking the sidewalk. Right.
Yeah. Following up on that.
Okay.
She's keeping up on
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that's going on. Well, I love the new report.
Yeah, and
Yep.
the report is
It
helpful.
is so helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that was the good thing about it is it allows you to see a lot more rather than, you know, just a list of
We did this or that. No, this is really good.
yeah. It's quite a lot that, you know, ends up happening, so and again, everything, every little bit has to be documented, so that takes a significant portion of time. Because we don't know what's gonna blow up, right? We documented it the first time we've seen a dog, but we have to do all our paperwork in case it escalates.
Right.
Gives us a good idea of how busy that job is by a law enforcement officer in the
Yeah.
limited time
That she's got to work, yes.
Yeah.
She does a good job.
a lot gets done.
And you're quite right, Nathan, like dogs running loose or dogs going other people's yard to do their business is one thing, but a dog attack on a person is something quite different. Oops, goes there.
Okay, nothing more on that. Fire department activity report, March and April. I see the chief's here now, so if you got any questions for him?
Now, where did they load up with water? Was that it was, you said raw lake water, was that
Oh, for the railway flat car?
Yeah.
We pulled it out of Walker's Lake.
out of Walker's Lake? Oh, okay, I get it, yeah, so,
Yeah, we drove up there 4 times.
yeah.
Drove it that way.
So is there any revenue with
That, not really.
us assisting CP with that operation?
I can send them an invoice on man hours, but not as far as billing for the water.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about the water. So that is something that's been done in the past, and,
Yes, it has, yeah.
yeah,
Not in a long time, but it's been done. They used to bring old retired tank cars down. We used to fill those.
yeah, I remember that a few years ago when I was still working.
Yeah.
It's all good planning for forest fire season.
Well, no, especially given how dry everything is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's a
no,
pretty
that-
slick little setup.
That's good.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was flats mobilized to Chaplow, White River, Schreiber, with all the
So that's a good service that we supply as
We help them out with,
municipality,
yeah.
Yeah. Nothing else jumped out at me there.
No,
No big increases in highway issues?
No,
Responses?
actually, we usually experience a decrease in highway.
In the
whenever
summertime?
No, it usually goes up in the summer.
Yeah,
But when the MTO is doing work on the highway.
With the
Like
construction?
they are right now in the Ross Park, Pace Plat area. It slows a lot of people down. They're stopping for construction and they're going through slow zones.
Yeah.
So we find that the highway incidents actually decreases whenever they're doing major work in the area.
kind of makes sense, eh?
Okay, want to move on to number 14. the Compliance results 2022 and Township of Schreiber compliance results 2022, both.
Congratulations, Jan. That's a job well done.
yes.
The Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act requires each municipality to develop and implement an emergency management program that includes all of these features. Congratulations on your municipality's efforts in meeting these requirements in 2023. It's awesome.
Yep. You already covered number 15. So Aqua, Schreiber Water and Wastewater Treatment Report.
Tammy,
Anything? Go ahead.
Way below,
Anything?
way below levels. It's,
Yeah,
and all
we're-
these, and all these errors are still filters. Filter,
Yeah.
filter, 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 filter.
Yep. But no red flags in the report, like
No.
everything in there was quite normal.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
That is just the nature of our system.
right?
Yeah, filters.
Hence the.
Yeah. But like out of these 24 pages, so much of it is,
Yeah.
right? Filter 2 valve fault, filter 3. But I suppose you say like that's equipment, it's bound to have its hiccups. But you're right, there were no red flags at all.
Okay, move on to communications then. Number 6, thank you from Margie
Yeah,
Smith.
that was very nice. We'll be sending another one on her 100th birthday.
Right?
Yeah.
She's
Yep.
doing so good, my goodness.
Number 5.
Yeah. Number 4, Nagasaugan Chamber of Commerce membership form.
For municipalities, the 2023 startup discount, which expires June 30th, for municipalities is $150.
Down, that's half price?
Yeah. Full price is $285.
Seems like a pretty good deal.
Well, I think on behalf of the economic development,
And they've
we're
listed,
not
right?
chairs, what are we? Representatives, that it's a good way to support a local business organization that helps support our local businesses.
Exactly.
And if it's half price, I don't
Yeah.
know why not.
It's a sweet deal.
They've also stated here, right, what does your chamber do for you?
Yeah.
Lobby.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
And directly for the municipality, right, they host the candidate nights for the
Yeah.
municipal election.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have no issue with that.
That always runs smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I hate those lights though. I think run out of time.
All those lights. So I think that's good. I don't know if anybody just, I know you haven't asked, but the DSAB, in 2022, their annual report's actually on their website now. But if you'll notice, if you read those minutes, that in 2022, their program levy surplus is they're returning it as prorated back to municipalities because they had a surplus for 2022. So some of that money's going back to us.
Did we already receive that, Marlene, or not yet?
They reduce it on their monthly invoice.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
Gotcha.
So that's highlights from DSAB.
Okay, then number 5, finish off. Number 5, Terrace Bay Fish Derby Committee. May as well do what we've done in the past. Read, it says it right there,
Mm-hmm.
shirt and a hat.
T-shirt and a hat.
And is there anything you guys want to support? Resolution support?
Well, we don't have any heritage buildings. Highway Traffic Act, run evictions, we haven't seen any of that around here.
Rental evictions?
Yeah, that's a new thing down south. You get evicted because the owner wants to
Yeah.
renovate. I don't think I'm that big of an issue up here.
Okay, then.
No.
Hearing none other, then we'll move on to unfinished business, so 2023 preliminary budget. The budget report.
The budget, as we have presented here, is again, it's again to provide you insight with what an overall levy increase is. Right now, it's at 5.16%. Part of what the purpose here today is to provide some insight into what projects we're recommending to do here. Marlene, do you want to take over and introduce it?
Sure, so the direction that's being requested is that staff be directed to bring forward the 2023 budget bylaw with a 5.16 increase. The, what everybody is wanting to know is the impact on $100,000 of residential property would be $246 approximately per year as an increase. You may recall in February, the tax policy report provided council with the $238, I believe it was, at a 5% levy increase, so it's coming fairly close to what was presented back in February. The one thing to recall is that your asset management plan is recommending increasing tax revenues by 2.8% each year for the next 20 years. There is little in this budget that's before you as transfers to reserve. It would be in your water and sewer that are already approved for 2023, as well as I believe it was in the landfill. Your capital list has been updated with at the May the 9th, I believe it was at the May the 9th meeting, there was discussion that there had been a wish list that had been prioritized, that had been circulated to council, so that information subsequent to that meeting has been updated and listed with the attached, for now, the projects that are being funded through taxation are highlighted in orange on the spreadsheet. I can go through them. They were listed in an email as well if council has any questions. The overall operating budget is showing a surplus of $288,675, which you will see goes into what you have available to be funded through your capital fund.
Okay, stop and say that again.
So if you look at the summary page of the documents, it shows that with the 5.16 levy increase, there is available $288,675 for the capital. So if you go to the wish list.
Okay.
You have available, if you approve everything that's on this capital wish list, it equates to a 5.16% increase, which is an additional $115,374 approximately.
And we're going to draw down that by the 288 that we had in surplus for 2022? Is that what you're saying?
No, I misspoke before, I'm sorry about
Okay.
that. It means that in order to do, so the capital list that's being presented, in order to do everything that's on there, which includes the ones that have been approved and are being funded either through grants or transfers from reserve, in order to do all of them that are on that list right now, you would need an additional $115,000, which equates to a 5.16 levy increase, sorry.
And that all adds up to 288,675, correct?
What's left on the capital list, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we approved everything on this list.
Yeah,
And some of it has been pre-approved, right?
that's correct.
Okay. I've got notes with motion numbers for the ones that have been pre-approved except for tonight's amounts. I haven't got those on here. Okay.
Do we want to go through some items on this list and discuss what is relevant?
Yes,
Yes? Okay.
the reds are probably a good starting point.
You're gonna look at capital?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one here is the shared drive. This is essentially, we're looking at the cost to get a server in order to put all our electronic, we have a lot of hard copy records,
The idea is to shift these hard copy records into one electronic drive, and part of what that will allow is better communication between all our departments. As you can imagine, if each department is physically filing their own files in their specific offices, there's a bit of a communication barrier associated with that. This is something that will inevitably come down as a recommendation from our consultant in their review as well, where just in brief discussion it was stated that a shared drive will really help to improve efficiencies because everyone is accessing the same files, everyone is maintaining the records that are in that electronic format, and also should you have any issues pertaining to business continuity in such a scenario as we had a pandemic, right? Everything is accessible remotely. Of course, what's associated with that is you'll have to look into upgraded security to make sure that access to these files is maintained. Already we do, have backup for our computer, all of our computers. We need a backup for this drive. The good news is just today I was able to discuss with a vendor and they offered a different plan. Right now what I have here is just the pure capital purchase off a drive to put into our office here. They've looked at the rental of basically a cloud drive, and that instead of having a one-time purchase, you'd be looking at a monthly rental cost, which is far cheaper. It would be something that rolls into an operating cost. So that, though I don't have a full quote, we're saying it was around $300 a month. So potentially that may be the way to go.
That would cover the backup as well.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either that or our existing service provider. I'll have to see depending on, but again, if this server is somewhere with this proprietary company, I think the backup would have to be done through them. So
So it could be a lot cheaper than $51,000.
Then the $14,000.
So the 14 for that.
So-
Am I looking, okay.
Yeah, 14.
So,
And it would be certainly a lot cheaper than
Yeah.
that 14,000.
So I think we could reduce that $14,000. So already you'd have some saving on your 5.1% levy.
It's never going to be 5.1%.
So that number 51,500, what does that signify then?
Pardon me?
Or is that?
Oh, the 51. That's.
Or is that just an
that's-
item number?
Yeah, that's the item below. So
okay.
that's the asset management plan,
plan.
building condition assessments, and why that's put on there. It's put on there as a basically everything on the left side is what we're including. The right side is to put on your radar, but it's a deletion for this wish list. So it does it's not contributing to your levy increase
the
because
totals.
we
Okay.
just left it there so you're aware that it's something that's going to be coming up.
Okay.
Why it's listed as a priority? Because this will have to be done basically next year. So part of the asset management plan requirements, we need to at some point do condition assessments. Right now they've based it all on general life cycle assessments to see where we are for asset lifespans, and by doing this assessment we would be able to accurately know how much lifespan we have of all of our assets.
And
So
where our priorities are again.
exactly. So this was all part of the plan of basically getting us to from point A to point B, right, and all the points in between to get us to a very accurate asset management plan, which is the goal of the province.
Okay. Next.
Next one is the dam inspection spillway. We
Okay, just back up to general administration, because I don't have that. You're right, I don't have the color.
the colors
General administration, where am I?
up here.
Here, yeah. You got no highlight on this. That's included in our totals, but we've actually applied for funding.
Yeah, so the amount that, basically it's balanced out with a revenue, so Marlene, did you want to explain that?
The strategic plan.
So the strategic plan is highlighted in the orange because a portion of it is funded through taxation. The application right now, and as I understand it, we wouldn't be going forward with the strategic plan at this point in time unless we got the FEDNOR funding. So the application has gone forward to their total cost of the project is estimated at 88,000. It's a 90-10, so 8,800 will be coming through taxation. You'll see the, up above, you'll see the corresponding 79,200 as a revenue source. And you,
Above.
if you wanna look at the stuff
In
that
the
you, that I.
revenue
Okay, I see, okay.
But I do, there's a color copy for
Mhm.
you in your.
Yeah, no, I have it.
Okay.
So.
Oh, the only thing I'm going to stop you right there. So, this council, if we can't get funding for the strategic plan, it's not going to do it. I think that's an inaccurate statement. We start with the simple things.
What do you mean by that, Anne Marie?
Well, I mean that this council has been pretty vocal about the fact that we need a strategic plan. To me, if we fund it or not, we need a strategic plan. We need a strategy for moving forward.
I think, and what we'll have to decide is, again, strategic plans, in terms of the grants that are out there, it's quite fundable, what you say, with a number of grants that we can pursue. So it has a good success, what you say, probability for a lot of the grant programs that do come out. Where we need to make a determination, right, is essentially, let's just say if this doesn't pan out, this application to FEDNOR, ultimately that may mean, you know, we sit down and then we determine what our priorities are, and it may not be that comprehensive.
We've got a capital lack of
Yeah.
strategic plans we've asked for. I realize that. Yeah, we
It's
did that
not-
on purpose.
Yeah, it won't be the comprehensive one that, you know, goes into explaining all the areas of the
Right.
budget from your, you know, recreation to ACTAV, but
Yeah.
at least we can get something preliminary where, you know, we sit down and just council and management and determine some of the priority areas of where you want to go. So, you know, absolutely, from what you're saying, it's important that
It's really important.
we determine something.
Okay.
So whether it's 4 pages or 100 pages,
Yeah.
something's better than nothing.
Okay. Sorry, Nathan. Okay, go on.
The next one we have here, and you just wanted me to say, basically, you want to discuss all the ones that are covered through taxation, right? So the next few ones here, fire department, again, that's all covered already.
These are ones that we've already made motions for.
Is that accurate, Marlene? Is there anything
The only
additional?
motion that has gone through, I do believe, is just the SCBA.
Okay.
PPE turnout gear?
I do not believe that you have done anything for turnout gear, even, it's an annual allocation, but
Okay.
I don't believe that has been.
Okay.
Okay. We'll keep going.
Yep.
Next one is in red. There was the dam inspections. We covered that. Then there's the waste water treatment plant building roof. That's $32,000. Tammy, do you want to explain that?
In the chemical room at the water treatment plant, all the bolts that are holding up the inside of that roof, which is aluminum sheeting, it's sagging, and it all needs to be resecured to eliminate the health and safety risk of it caving in.
Especially with the snow load, right?
Yeah.
And
So,
we've seen that in our inspection.
right, but so we put through a request to Ontario Trillium and didn't include this roof. Is that what you're telling me?
That's correct. Now, the Ontario Trillium Fund and the funding categories, they're mostly looking at funding just recreation buildings.
They wouldn't take a look at this?
Correct.
Okay.
The moment we put in any sort of core infrastructure buildings, and this is something we end up facing a lot, they won't cover administrative buildings or, would you say, any core infrastructure. Their emphasis on, and usually the emphasis you see with the province on that is they want you to depend on your basically your financial plans, right, and in terms of how you're funding it. So they don't want to get people too dependent on using grants to fund your
So the Ontario Train Grant would only fund the recreation repairs on the roofs
That-
that we needed on those type of buildings?
That's correct. Even when we were looking, for instance, at the shingles for the medical center, you know, we had to make that determination that it would be a far stronger application to just focus on the arena, because we didn't want to jeopardize, for instance, the grant, you know, if it's not going to get covered just because we have something that's non-specific to recreation.
So what about the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund that we've been?
Same thing, they don't cover what
Don't
you
cover, that type of, building,
say. Yeah.
okay.
And we just made motions last meeting and the meeting before to move a bunch of surplus money from 2022 into reserves. You don't want to use any of that reserve money to help fund this.
You could, I mean,
It's just a question.
Marlene,
What did we move
what's
over,
your-
Marlene, 44,000 or 56,000 from last year?
Water, I believe, was 44 that we just did, that was just the past earlier. I
Yeah,
think the 59 was sewer.
so we just moved 44,000 as a surplus from 2022 into our reserves. You want to keep it there and you want to run this for taxation? Is
Yeah.
that
I
what you
mean,
think?
ultimately, that's a decision that, you know,
That's-
you need to make,
Okay.
and, I mean, it's
there's-
a trade-off, right? Because it'll give you a lower, what you say, levy increase, but you're reducing now your reserves, so that's where you'll have to determine, you know,
Yeah, okay.
where you wanna make that
So
call.
are we using any of that, water and sewer reserve for the Ontario Street reline? That's
Yeah.
That's another
That's
decision we have to
That's
make.
another decision.
Ultimately.
Yeah, that's another,
Decision we have to make.
So
but I
anyway,
mean,
let's-
this is,
Okay,
Okay, let's,
let's keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
this is, yeah, this is a building, so
Mhm.
yeah, so,
Yeah,
it could, the way I see it, could come out of the infrastructure reserve.
could too.
yeah.
The Ontario Street reline, right, that was actually on top there, and that was, again, it's, you see, Berlin, you haven't put it in the orange, so you're covering it ultimately under some, reserve is what you're recommending right now?
So right now, the portion that pertained to the previous year, which was the tender documents, the balance of that was coming from the water and sewer reserve.
Mm-hmm.
The construction phase of it, it's partially funded from the provincial government and the federal government, and you can see that, it does show on here that it is on the capital wish list. It's saying that our portion is estimated at the 137,000.
But that's now 133,000.
Yeah, on the reserve continuity that was sent out, it was coming,
Mhm.
the 137 was coming from the infrastructure reserve. That's what was suggested on that reserve continuity.
Okay, because here we got, and I remember seeing something in minutes, but here we're kind of vacillating between, do we borrow for it or do we transfer from reserve?
Yeah,
Okay, but it's now actually 133, not 137.
that's what it's estimated at this point in time, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The next one was the VFD, I believe that was already
Yeah.
approved.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going down. Next one I have here, in next few year, we have in red, the steamer pressure washer for H2O lines.
And what is that all about?
Tammy, do you wanna explain that?
Yes, it's a pressurized steamer that's used to thaw water lines out with. So we currently have the Magic Kiss that we use for, water lines.
Currently have what?
It's called a Magic Kiss,
Mhm.
and,
Okay, that's a hot water thing?
yeah,
Okay, I know
it creates the hot waters, pressurizes steam, and thaws out water lines.
Okay,
The problem is we cannot use that because it goes into water lines. We cannot use that piece of equipment to thaw out our storm sewers, or when we have floods on the street or somebody has a frozen sewer lateral. We have no means of thawing out those pipes.
so we haven't been thawing them out in the past, or?
It takes longer.
They have been, the equipment that's being used is not recommended.
They use a different line.
Okay.
Okay. And all these next few ones which are priority, right, it looks like they all are gonna be funded from the infrastructure reserve. That's correct, Marlene?
Yep, if you go up
Yep.
to the top.
Yep.
Okay, which one are you talking about now?
That was the steamer pressure is gonna be funded from the infrastructure reserve.
The
Next
gr-
one,
It's a
grader.
possibility that we could go,
Yep.
yeah.
The grader, we've already approved that, right?
We already
Correct.
have.
Trackless, now, is that imperative that we need to buy that this year?
Tammy, did you wanna discuss that?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball, so, I mean, it's hard to predict these kind of things. What I
Yeah.
can tell you is that the trackless is getting very tired. The hydraulics, we had a lot of issue with this year. The transmission continues to be issues.
But you guys just had it fixed too, right?
The transmission? No.
The hydraulics.
The hydraulics we
Yes.
managed to fix with the one part, but the PTO is still weak
Okay.
on the machine. So we've replaced it on the broom attachment, and it's operating right now, but it's getting old.
So
There's
you
no.
use that to sweep?
We clean sidewalks in the wintertime with it.
Yeah.
We sweep the streets and sidewalks in the spring. And, I mean, the machine has a lot more abilities depending on the attachments that you have for it.
Okay.
We definitely have to look at our reserves, see where we are with our reserves. I mean, I think there's a year or two left in that.
So, I mean, that's something we could push off till next year, or,
We'll have to see where we're at.
Mhm.
yeah, which is
when we
a
get there.
significant amount of money.
Yeah. Okay.
And the only thing you'll have to keep in mind, right, is what will be very difficult for us is if something were to, a critical failure, touch wood, because
Yeah.
Marlene will be looking at me here. But if we have a critical failure in winter, I don't know what is
What's the answer?
is there any delay in getting,
What's the contingency plan?
yeah, what's a contingency plan essentially, or is there any delays?
If we don't
Because, for
have the
instance, we have
track,
to-
if we don't have the trackless, we can't do sidewalks, right?
Correct.
Right.
You'd need a what? Snow blower, wouldn't you? A good one, but you need a snow blower.
A walk behind?
What would you do if you had no trackless?
Use a loader.
You'd use a loader. Oh, even better. So there's your contingency.
Or-
See how fast I figured it out?
I mean, you would never get through the town pushing walk behind
No.
the snow blower.
I realized that. I wanted you to say the loader.
The loader is there.
Okay.
You can't get the loader in the subway sidewalk, for example.
So then you would have to.
Like there's going to be some challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also would be concerned about
You have brick
It'd be
for
quite
sidewalk.
rough.
That's right.
might end up,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
The other thing to consider is that your loader is already integral part of your snow removal throughout town.
Yeah.
So to take away from that already busy machine and ask it to do sidewalks on top of it, sidewalks would get delayed.
Right.
I also have a big concern, like, I mean, it's simple as, do you buy your washer and dryer and fridge and everything else all at once?
Mhm.
Like, I'm having that problem. We've just spent $300,000 on a loader. We just spent
Yeah.
$200,000 in grader
On a grader
repairs.
repair.
Never mind what we paid for the grader.
And now we're fixing
And
our
now
rear
we're gonna
deck.
buy that, like, that's where I'm having my problem.
Yeah, snow plow hoppers, like it's to the point.
Like, down the,
municipalities will
like,
have-
this is what's gotten me mad since I've been on council, is fixing up other messes. And if we buy things, just like we're leaving a mess down the road for somebody 12, 15 years, but should I be concerned about that? Probably not, but I am.
Right, but then also concerned with, you can't, you're asking a family of not great means to replace every appliance within a 2-year frame, and it's, sometimes that's just not possible.
Like, I really think it's got some life left in it, but
Yeah.
Most municipalities will have a policy that you replace your equipment on a rotating basis so that you don't end up in this situation where all of your equipment is aging and
Right.
falling apart. So you rotate it on a, going forward
Right.
basis, that you don't have a piece of equipment that's older than, 7 years old or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You would replace
And,
it.
and a lot of communities now too are doing leasing of equipment, right? So they're rolling equipment. They don't want to keep equipment anymore. They want to just roll it. So there's there's other options to look at for sure.
So I think Benji asked, how easy is it to rent a trackless?
The trackless is not a piece of machinery. It's very specialized, and there's only one supplier
Yeah.
in Ontario, and they don't lease or rent.
Okay.
I think if we get, I'm not saying that it's not old, I think if we can hang on for 2 years or something like that.
And spread that
I mean-
replacement out.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah,
I mean.
plan for it.
Yeah.
Is it a gamble? Yeah, it's a gamble, but
And Tammy, how quickly could you get a new trackless? Like, what's the delay in terms, I don't know if they have them in stock, or do you have to wait?
No, there is a
like 6
delay. I
months?
believe that there was, something like a 12-month wait on
Oh,
a
1
new
year.
trackless as well.
So if we're going to be looking at a new capital budget for 2024 in September, maybe the trackless can be put off till then.
So you would be taking a bit of a risk there.
We would be, yeah.
So what's the concern? The transmission is the big concern?
There's many factors on the trackless that they're complaining about. The transmission, we fixed the brakes, that's okay. Hydraulics is weak, and it's just not performing. It's, they said something, I'm trying to remember now the details, sorry. So they said something about, when you take off, you have to be in low, because it won't, like when you put it in the high gear, it won't move. You've got it, so it gets scary when you're crossing the highway, for example. You've got to try and get it going, use the low gear to get it going, and then you're having to try and kind of stop in the middle of the highway to switch it up to high gear. Because it's not, remember, it's not clutch on that, it's a hydrostatic. So you usually pick a gear and go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so the next one here is the asbestos drive brushing and chipping. Tammy?
That's for the Schreiber Beach Road, and the concern there is that, again, it's been ignored for far too many years, and it's not just tie dollars anymore, it's mature trees, and it's compromising your sight lines. So we're not meeting road standards at this point. And with the hills and curves on that road, you can't see anything coming or anyone walking. The trees are compromising that. So it really should be cleaned out. It's to the point at this point that it's impossible to ask somebody on foot to take a chainsaw or a brush cutter and walk it. The trees are just too big, too many. Guy on a chainsaw would never stand up at the end of an 8-hour shift after being bent over cutting all of those. There's just too many of them now.
so where did 22 come from?
There is a company, Breaking Ground Contractors out of Thunder Bay, that have very specialized equipment, again, for this type of work. They have their chipper, they do a really nice job. They don't leave a whole lot of debris in the ditch. So when they cut, they shred it and mulch it, and it becomes part of the landscape. They have chainsaws that can cut the tree, pick the tree up and put it in the chipper sort of thing. It's all specialized equipment.
I think we're gonna have to put that one off to next year and try and get a grant and tie it in with the white sand project and all that. Like, I mean, I drive down there and I don't know, unless they're
Yeah.
going 60 miles an hour, then I'd like, I mean, is there some trees, not trees, and I'm not gonna call them trees. Well, that, are there, I'd say 8 hours worth of work would, that was done 2 years ago, 3 years ago. There's nothing a sickle bar, I remember when I was working a sickle bar, the Department of Highways were gonna run a sickle bar up, down, and back up. I don't know what the working relationship is with the Department of, or
Well,
MTO now.
the sickle bar is more for grass and straw. It won't deal with the small trees that are growing there.
I think there's another way around it too anyways, honestly.
Okay,
I think you can get this done with volunteers.
With volunteers, but we
Leave
can't.
it with me.
What's that?
It's not Cascal, if you're worried about that.
No,
it's not that.
but there is an issue with getting volunteers to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that for the
Mhm.
Discovery Center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I think that you can either put it off, there's a way around it. Well, maybe not all get done, but some of it get done.
I think, I mean, I've been up and down that road quite a bit. I was looking at it. And,
Yeah.
And some of the curves, and to Tammy's point, the sight lines are compromised
Yeah.
on the curvature. I don't see a lot of overhanging trees onto the road itself, like you're not brushing, you're not hitting. I mean, there are a couple of spots where you could be hitting branches that are growing over the road, but that's something that's gonna have to be done probably next year. How we do it, that's another issue,
Yeah.
but it definitely has to be done.
I think, like I say, I think we could look at,
Yeah.
the grants that are coming out, and we know we should be looking at doing white sand too.
Yeah,
I mean, white sand, now there's an issue.
yeah,
Like we should be looking at white sand too, and if we can tie, like, I don't know what kind of grant it would be, but if we can tie them both in together, maybe the, road back to the dam or something too, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You see
That
some
shouldn't
of those
need it.
brush cutter heads they can put on an excavator, like rubber tired excavator. You
Mhm.
could run up and down there, and I mean, it's not gonna be totally pretty after. You'll have to do some cleanup. But
Yeah,
but it's
that's,
fast.
it's fast.
yeah, that's the part that Tammy was talking about, to clean up afterward.
Yeah.
It'd be nice and clean.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
Okay,
Next one is the roof repair municipal complex. Tammy?
The municipal complex cannot go another winter the way it is. We have to secure the flashing, we have to secure the ice gates that are falling off. The rubber's been compromised where the ice gates have been ripped away. So now you have holes in your roof. If you leave it the way it is, you're gonna have water in the building.
Did we not put in for a grant for this stuff?
The grant that we're looking at is specifically for the
Oh, I'm
arena.
sorry, I was on the wrong one. Sorry, you were talking about the complex?
yeah,
This one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking about the arena. My apologies.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, we have a grant for the arena one. This one here, we have a bunch of spots that are leaking, and to replace the roof is probably going to be in the neighborhood of $1 million. So at this point, we're just looking to patch some areas that are leaking. You'll see stained tiles throughout the building.
okay. So the municipal roof, that's new from the last report that you gave us in February.
And no, it was all there.
Municipal complex, library, whatever that stands for, arena, water treatment plant, all rolled in together as $50,000.
That was a guesstimate before we got the actual numbers from the contractor. Because again, it was a little bit of a discussion. I had to pay the contractor to travel up to here to give us a quote.
Okay.
Okay, so again, only the arena roof could be covered under the OTF grant. Specifically, we need to maximize our opportunity to get it, to get that grant. That being said, you know, if we don't get that grant, Tammy, you believe that these repairs have to be done.
On the arena.
You want to explain why it has to be done?
I think she, what she was just talking about.
That's the one
yeah.
I was stuck on, sorry.
Okay. So, Marlene, I think the way you budgeted it, is there any revenue going against the 63,000? No, right?
No.
Because whether we get a grant or not, we're ultimately going to be pursuing this.
Your plan is to, if we can afford it.
We can afford.
Right. Okay. Next.
The next one is the roof repair for the Public Works garage.
Right.
That
Right.
is not going to affect the integrity of the building. I mean, it doesn't have a finished ceiling inside. It's more of an inconvenience. So I would probably feel comfortable moving that to like a level yellow.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Keep going down here. Security cameras, just FYI,
Yeah.
so that has been moved to operating, so.
Yeah. And that's at the splash pad. And I think the mayor's already spoken about that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep going here. Next one is library, we talked about that.
Right.
Front steps. As you keep going, next one coming down is the parks white sand dock.
Parks White Sand Outhouse.
The outhouse is off now.
Right. She's
Yeah.
gonna fix it instead.
Blue park removal.
What's that, Nathan?
Well, essentially, Tammy, do you want to explain the playground at Blue Park?
Yeah, we have certified playground inspectors that we are required to have.
Mm-hmm.
There is a standard that goes along with those inspections. The playground currently is not meeting those standards, and I mean, we can't afford to replace it because it would be $135,000 to replace the playground. But in order for protecting people that are playing on the structure, we really should remove it.
So it's not a question of there's not the right fill underneath the swing. It's
No,
not.
the steps.
It's the actual
coating.
equipment itself.
Yeah, it's just aged and it's not meeting the specs anymore. But further to that, the steps are not safe anymore. So the slip tape on the edge of the steps, the slide is cracked. And you're not allowed to swap out components of a playground, according to the standard.
Okay.
So who would remove that?
Who would remove that?
Why is
That
there a
would be-
cost of 5,000? So
Because
That-
it would have to go to the landfill.
Whoa. Some of this could go back to scrap metal.
Yep.
Probably most of it.
Yep,
Which-
and then once it's away, once we have it out of there, then we want to, we'll have to remove the sand, remove the retaining wall.
Right.
Put black earth down, seed it, so that's part of where all that cost is coming in.
Just need to make these points clear. Again, with regard to playgrounds in general, the main thing that you're looking at is, again, occupier's liability under the Occupier Liabilities Act. Again, with the inspections and all that I've done, the inspections are done basically in order for the municipality to determine that, we have some way of checking and showing compliance that we're doing our duty as a occupier of this premise. So it's us doing that due diligence. The standards are what you say that they check against are general standards for playgrounds. These aren't the law per se. These standards are, again, just put out there for recommendations. I don't know particularly what, research they do, but it's not like building code or anything. It's not the law. The main thing that we have to acknowledge is once we do identify any sort of hazards, our role as an occupier is to either mitigate those hazards or find some way to resolve them. So that's currently where we're at.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, even if it did cost us that to remove it, you could mitigate some of that with the scrap money you're gonna get back.
The way that would work also would be, if it's going to the Terrace Bay landfill, right, under the existing agreement for that landfill
Yeah.
would be,
Revenue.
revenue that you would potentially be
Yeah.
getting by it being offset against the operating costs,
Right.
right?
So there would be some of that. Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
Rec truck.
The rec truck purchase, 53,000. Tammy?
It's yellow, eh?
Yellow.
The rec truck?
Now
Uh,
it's in the infrastructure.
No, it's in very bad shape. Sorry, just let me find it here. The rec truck, it's burning oil, the third cylinder is gone, new plugs bi-weekly, transmission not shifting, there's an oil leak, water pump is rotten, there's no power, two-wheel drive, body rusting. So it's a regular maintenance concern.
So it's not yellow anymore?
It's red on,
It's red.
red.
It's, yeah.
Okay. This is
Then now, is there another way of dealing with this rather than buying a brand new truck?
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah,
Like
there
a
is.
used vehicle or renting a vehicle or? is
leasing
there-
a vehicle?
Yeah,
All of the above?
Yeah.
yeah, all these things,
Mm-hmm.
instead of spending 53,000
Yeah.
and then bang it all up. But if you're leasing a vehicle, you gotta worry
No,
about.
you
Well,
can-
no, you don't have to as much because with, you go through GE Capital, for instance, their requirements are not like when a person is leasing a vehicle. GE Capital does all the CP rail trucks.
Yep.
So, I mean, there are different companies out there that have different programs. It's certainly less expensive. My thought is, because we've seen this truck, is to roll these, like lease them, not to buy them, lease them, to roll them into another one, and to roll them into another one, so that your fleet is newer all the time.
Yeah, you're paying regardless.
Yeah, you
Whether
are
it's
paying,
maintenance
one way or another, yeah.
Or lease fees.
So can we take a look at an alternative to just an out-and-out
Mhm.
purchase?
And there's of course strategies involved with this where you may get the best price would be potentially a second-hand car that you're buying outright. If it happens to be in good condition and you buy it outright, it will have what you say, that lump sum cost. You could look at, of course, all the other avenues, and that's where you sort of the fleet management comes into
Yes.
what you may factor. Really, the if you want to see the cheapest cost that you'd get would probably, like I said, be buying a secondhand right out.
Right.
If you buy a brand new, then you know that you don't have to worry about maintenance and for the rest of its lifespan. If you are going to be leasing everything, it will be an overall, larger increase. I'm saying your entire fleet. If you're talking about just this one vehicle,
Mm-hmm. It's a
You know.
place to start.
it's a place to start.
Because you're
exactly.
looking at, you had a rec truck purchase, 53,000. Just an FYI, that's not much of a truck. That's plain.
It's bare bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Four-wheel drive, tow package, bare
Yeah.
bones.
Right? So if for $500 a month times 12 months, you could get a truck that was $70,000 and had a little bit more options in it. Is it cheaper? You got more vehicle.
Yep. And that,
Or buy used. Yeah.
No, you could buy a used one for anywhere between probably 25, 30,000.
Yep.
Yeah, half price.
Yeah.
And
Couple
get
years
the
old.
same life out of it.
Yeah.
They just fleet vehicles, yeah. You look at the year that it was purchased, well, you probably take a vehicle that's 10 years older and it would have the same engine hours, they idle, they're just,
Yeah,
There's no benefit to buy a new one.
there isn't a benefit to it. And the thing of it is, like, to have a fleet of, whether it's these trucks or snowplow or what, they are just part of the game. Like, we can't do without them. I'm not even trying to suggest we can, but there's gotta be cheaper ways to do it.
Yeah, you work for a dealership, they have all
Yeah.
these rentals coming back after 2 years.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
that
You're
come
probably,
in.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say,
They're in good shape,
they are in really good shape.
so why not take a look at that?
well, you can take a look at that, but even if you bought a secondhand one, like I say, for 25,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're probably getting more options on that 25 than you are for the 53 bare bones,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and you're gonna get the same life out of it, but there's nothing wrong with taking a look at
no,
the lease
exactly, to
either.
take a look at something else.
Okay.
I think we're all in agreement that 53 is
No,
not an
they
option.
need a new truck, but they don't need, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
a new work truck. Okay.
Okay, the next one there, the cemetery tree removal. And
There
cemetery
is-
tree removal, if you want to describe that.
There's 4 trees in the cemetery that are diseased, and ants have eaten the base of the tree, and it's really a matter of time before it falls, and it will cause extensive damage to surrounding headstones. This price also includes the tree on Ontario Street that is very dead by Carlino's house. It's on
Oh,
our property.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. 4 trees plus 1 tree.
so if trees fall on headstones, then that's on us.
We will be paying
Yeah.
to replace the stones.
Yes.
And they're not cheap, cause we had one last year.
That was just the flat marker,
And how
and
much
that
did that
was
cost?
over $5,000.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And just
Yeah.
beyond the price, you're gonna be
Yeah.
dealing with.
yeah.
For an
So I
upright,
would
you're
say
looking
that-
nothing less than 10,000.
Yeah.
I would say that's a yes on that.
Just as a point, just as for clarification, when we're removing trees in the cemetery, we're not removing stumps, correct?
Not at this point.
Okay,
I've
good.
been
Okay.
asking about a grinder that can do it, but I haven't, that's not included in
No,
this
no,
price.
There
Okay.
are companies that could go around doing that.
I
Yeah.
need the grinding, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a fellow coming to my house in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then what's the charge?
I mean,
$45 an hour.
$45 an hour?
Yeah.
And how long do they figure?
He said, it's a stump in my backyard. He said half an hour tops. I was like, well, come on over.
That sounds like a good deal.
Mm.
So
okay.
and we discussed the tool
Yeah.
shed. So
Yes.
Okay, so that's the capital, right?
That's the
Yeah,
cap.
from what
In a
I've
nutshell.
So what I've heard from what we're
Yeah.
talking about, you know, the shared drive, I can look at reducing that down to 4,000 or so, potentially. Again,
Well, some of our comments, you need $115,000, you said.
pardon me?
Well, some of our comments, we started this off with
Yep.
saying we needed $115,000 with this plan.
Yeah.
But I think if we cut the truck in half, we say no to this, yes to this,
Yep.
I'll bet you we're darn close.
I added up 102,000
Right there.
right there.
Okay,
Marina,
sorry.
can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
To, let's say Thursday at 4 o'clock, like, I mean, Benji and Dave, and, well, when we gotta get staff too, so, to keep moving forward. I think it's only, I think we should move forward with it. I felt a lot more comfortable after seeing the reserve funds today. But I think we should keep moving forward with it. I'm not gonna say we're gonna get it done, but I think we put a noble effort into it and get it done so we can get the taxation out and call it a normal year.
Well, I think that's a good idea, but I'm just gonna point out too, we haven't had a look at the operating side of things either. And that's gonna take more time, I think, than we wanna do tonight.
Oh, no, but I mean, if, like, this is
Yeah.
just an
But you're right, the
example.
capital-
If we can
Yeah.
if we can do something at 4 o'clock
Yeah.
on Thursday,
Yep.
pending everybody, and 2 days later or 3 days later, like, let's get this thing rolling, because we're moving into holiday time, and the other alternative is October again.
So you wanna deal with the capital only on Thursday then?
No,
I think we can
I'm
do
open,
the-
I'm open to dealing with whatever. I'm just suggesting that we make a noble effort to get it done.
I think also for the operation side, you're done half the year, so
Yeah.
you're
Nothing jumping out at me on that.
You're
That's
already
anyway.
committed like
Well,
half the funds, right, according to what we have.
There are areas
so-
all over the place.
So, I mean, you can go over it, but.
Well, there are.
Yeah, no,
Not in
I know.
capital, in operating. I've already looked over operating partially. There's areas I can see savings in a couple different places.
Okay, well, if there's opportunities, then we need to consider it for sure.
I have no issue with moving forward with a budget. I'm just going to remind you one more time. You're missing information. But if you want to move ahead, Mayor, I think then let's do that. Let's make an effort and try and move ahead. We did good tonight. I got 2 lots. Okay.
But we gotta, when do we wanna move ahead then?
Thursday? I'm available Thursday.
Yeah, I can look at, on the staff side for a special council meeting, and, we said Thursday,
is in
we'll have
2
to.
days from today?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We need, 24 hours notice, so essentially, we're bringing back the same information we have
Mhm.
here, so.
Yeah, I think it would be good to sit down and that's what we do.
Just focus on that.
Line by line, cause I think we need to, trim it a little bit too. I know we talked about a few of these items, but I think
Well,
really-
You trimming a lot off capital, that's a big move on our taxation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're
We talked about
firm
it.
on what we.
We haven't done it.
Yeah,
We
well,
talked
that's-
about it.
that's-
No, but you're right. We haven't done it. You're right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we need to.
But if we can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Okay, what time on Thursday, you figure?
Well, we're gonna, I'm saying 3:30, 4 o'clock. I mean, unfortunately, it's not that great for staff, but
Just keep in mind,
we're
there's
thinking
also
Benji and Dave.
Yeah.
There's also a chamber meeting that will be going on Thursday. That's in room 124.
I have DSAB but on Thursday, but it's over by 1 o'clock.
Staff, what's availability?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
What's your availability? No?
I have to go to Marathon at, I can't remember, 10 or 11 in the morning to the, I'll be back by 2 anyway.
Okay. We'll
So
just have to-
tentatively,
Yeah, we'll just have to look at the timing. It looks like evening or afternoon. What were you stating?
I'll add it just so I don't.
I should
book
be
anything
back
else.
by,
Okay.
I should be back by 2:30 at the latest.
Okay. That's that. And reserves.
I think we gotta put the
Okay.
effort in.
Okay.
Okay, under unfinished business, number 2 is the draft land maintenance bylaw.
Just a few minor changes there. I'm thinking before we get the updated bylaw fully, that perhaps just having a quick legal review just to see what the
common law, where common law stands with regard to the removal of the derelict vehicles in terms of grandfathering.
You mean from the 1 to 0, just making that change? You worried about that?
Just again, from the common law perspective on grandfathering, I just want to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. So,
Okay.
Typically, grandfathering is more what you say related to actual structures or buildings. Obviously, you know, if the law changes, you're not expected to rebuild. I just want to see again what the perspective may be for these vehicles
Okay.
on that. So if everything is clear, right,
Okay.
it'll be good to know.
Don't want to move ahead with that then.
If all should be good, we should be able to move ahead with that in the bylaw. We say the next
meeting.
meeting.
Next meeting?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, then move on to other business. Okay, that's under unfinished business. Okay, the 2023 AMO conference.
Was Cecile, you've done some research here with the pricing.
Yep.
I think the decision is anyone else coming, or are we okay with myself and Anne Marie?
Ben, do you know?
That's the.
Yeah, that's the thing, things have changed a little bit for me and I can't go.
Okay.
I got a new job and the first thing to come out was we gotta be somewhere.
Okay.
that,
At the end of August?
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's unfortunate. I looked at the dates, I'm like, oh, okay, and then I was, for some, like, thought in my head, there's something else going on, and,
So I can't go, so
I'll have to think about it.
we ain't got much time.
Well, how much time?
Well, it says in your thing, in your add-on.
If you're gonna cancel everything to get any kind of a refund, you'd have to do that before July the 7th.
Okay, well, that's time. I'll have
So-
to talk to the boss.
By next meeting, will that give you enough time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're not beforehand.
Yeah.
It's down to you, so.
When is that again?
20th to 23rd.
Yeah.
Of August
Yeah.
Yeah.
in London.
Just let Cecile know if you know before the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
whatever you gotta do.
Okay.
Okay, then move on to other business, the draft DSAB agreement.
Just FYI, the amendment, which would have to be passed before the original agreement, is in order for us to make this amendment to have them pay for the HST that they currently been withholding from their rent payments. So just in discussion, they said that they would be agreeable to paying those rent agreements minus interest if we made this amendment. So that's where we currently are with that. So this is pertaining to our existing lease agreement. The follow-up agreement is a new agreement to go into a new term. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so do the
Okay.
amendment next meeting.
Yep.
And number 2?
Number 2, this is similar to the bond agreement which we passed. This is at the request of Superior North Community Futures. They want to be able to use room 124 in order to do any sort of business consultation. So again, this is something to the benefit of our community, to the benefit of our businesses. So I think, it makes sense to enter into this agreement where they could have the space for free.
But now you at least have a signed agreement.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it covers, any elements of, again, who's in
Yeah. Yeah, makes it clear.
insurance, WSIB, whatever, so all of that's cleared.
How many times do they foresee using that room in a given year?
I think
Would that
they,
be-
I think they initially wanted to try to do, I think, maybe like on a weekly basis, but, I'm not sure. It may be, as needed, and sort of see where things go.
Yeah.
Again, with any of these, the beauty with this sort of agreement is it's very easy to amend, right? It says, give 1 month's notice if you're gonna, wanna revoke the agreement, so,
Yeah. No, it sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
and honestly, the room could be used more often,
Yeah.
Sure, no, exactly.
We got a few things in there, but we could certainly get a lot more, so.
Yeah.
Keeping our rooms busy, I think, is a good idea.
Good for optics.
Yeah. Well, it is.
Okay?
Yeah, bring it forward, yeah. And number 3, student counselor policy.
So, can't even remember now who emailed me. Here, Emery, here's a copy of Marathon Student Council Policy, just in case you were interested. And I thought, well, look at that. So I forwarded it to Nathan, and then I found out that we actually have a student counselor policy. So I know during last year through election, we've talked about what we can do with youth. I know that there have been attempts that have been made before, but I just wanted you guys to think about maybe heading out in September to high school again and making another attempt at see if a student wants to come and sit on council from October to June, as the policy outlines. Our policy is very close to marathons. I know we've tried before, but I think it's worth trying again. Maybe sending someone like yourself out, maybe yourself and Nathan, and just talking about what it is, they could help their community with, the Schreiber youth.
Yeah.
There seemed to be a lot of interest from the students last election.
Yeah, so why not maybe try and build on that?
I think it's worth it. I think the last council was gonna do it too, except for COVID.
Yeah, so I think maybe it's just worth looking at, maybe, and the timing is good, October to June, gives us a chance to put a little presentation together and go out in September and make arrangements for that. That's all I wanted to just bring it to your attention.
Well, it's a good idea. When I was, I know when I was at the high school, there was some interest.
Some interest in it, right?
Sure, yeah.
So, and that's the only reason I brought that up, is someone had emailed me the marathon one for some obscure reason.
Okay, no,
Okay?
I'm all
Excellent.
for that for sure. Okay, so I guess we're gonna go back in the close, so resolution 221-23, moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that closed meeting resume at this time. All those in favor?